In a rematch of Super Bowl 59, the Philadelphia Eagles outmuscled the Kansas City Chiefs, and this drops Kansas City to 0-2 and losers of 3 straight for the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era. Are we seeing perhaps a changing of the guard here? Because the Eagles have recently had the number of the Kansas City Chiefs, including 2023, which was a rematch of Super Bowl 57. The Eagles beat the Chiefs then, and fast forward to February of earlier this year, they dismantled the Chiefs in Super Bowl 59, and now they have another strong showing. We're seeing in the last 5 years, these two teams have gone head to head, and so far the Eagles are now leading this series 3 games to 2. Obviously, the Eagles won this game thanks to their strong defensive play led by defensive coordinator Vic Fangio, where he found a way again to shut down Patrick Mahomes by limiting their offense in a similar fashion to what they did in the Super Bowl, but slightly changing things up, where in the Super Bowl didn't really call a lot of blitzes, but in this game in week 2 he changed it up by calling various arrays of blitzes, and that definitely led to some confusion with Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense, where it may not have been a dominating performance like we saw in the Super Bowl, but still Philly's defense got it done, and they sacked Mahomes twice and hit him 10 times on Sunday afternoon. Just when we saw the Chiefs begin to get some momentum in the fourth quarter, disaster struck when Travis Kelce couldn't secure what could have been a go-ahead score and ended up being a game-altering interception by rookie Drew Makuba. The Eagles turned that interception into 7 points by converting on a 3rd and 10 thanks to a long pass from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith, and then later converting a 4th and goal with their patented tush push. With this turn of events, this was a potential 14-point swing, turning what could have been a 17-13 Chiefs lead into a 20-10 Chiefs deficit. Philly once again nearly pitched a second half shutout if it wasn't thanks to a blown coverage between Reed Blankenship and Quinny Mitchell, leading to a Tyquan Thornton long touchdown to get the Chiefs momentarily back into the game in the fourth quarter. But after recovering the onside kick, the Eagles bled out the remaining clock and handed the Chiefs their 3rd straight loss dating back to February. Takeaways from Philly's perspective is that once again they flexed their championship DNA that they've slowly been building for the last 2 to 3 years. What championship winning teams do is that they capitalize on your opponent's mistakes. The Chiefs made a ton of mistakes, where in the first half the Eagles took advantage of a short field thanks to a Harrison Butker missed field goal that was wide right. Fits with how he's been looking lately. And you have Saquon Barkley capping off the drive with a 13-yard run where he followed the gaping holes created by the Eagles offensive line for the game's opening score. In the second half, the Eagles stood tall where they stuffed Kareem Hunt on a 4th and 1 and they converted that into 3 points. And then when you added the Makuba pick, that's 17 of the Eagles' 20 points as a result of Chiefs miscues. And these all resulted in short fields for the Eagles. I will absolutely acknowledge the refs did miss at least 2, if not 3, false start calls on the Eagles' offensive linemen when they were attempting to tush push. But let's not act like the Chiefs haven't been the beneficiary of many questionable calls in the last 4 or 5 seasons ever since Mahomes has been their starter. I still have some concerns over the Eagles offense because the passing game did look anemic at times, a lot of underneath stuff, and now we're seeing that over the course of the last couple of games. So far, there's only been 2, if maybe 3 passes that have been completed for more than 10 yards in the passing game, and I understand Kevin Patullo is new to this, but it's gonna be really concerning if this trend continues. I want to give him hopefully at least until the end of the month of September to see if he opens up the playbook, the passing game can evolve, because it is concerning that it's really dialed back and very conservative because you just cannot win football games like this. For this type of game, it makes sense. It's low scoring, it's a defensive struggle, so you want to really avoid putting the ball in harm's way, and I thought Jalen really did do his best to scan the field. I think maybe there were a couple missed throws out there, but he didn't really make any losing plays. I think it was maybe too overly cautious, if anything. But like I said, I really want to see how the Eagles offense can look by the end of September and if they do get their shit together, because for now, the Eagles are leaning on their defense and it's proving to be the strength of this team. They got huge stops, they control the line of scrimmage, and the Chiefs offensive line really couldn't generate much push against this Eagles front, and once again that made them one-dimensional. And Fangio will absolutely live with the Mahomes scrambles every now and then. Of course, they did allow Mahomes to get in on that one touchdown scamper in the first half. But outside of those scampers in the first half, they even were able to control those Mahomes scrambles in the second half. I didn't see much out of the Chiefs offense except for that one bomb to Tyquan Thornton to make this somewhat of a game late. Obviously, there's a big impact now. The defense gets a boost because Jalen Carter's delayed season debut ended up being in week 2, and he did get a ton of pressure coming up the middle. He hit Mahomes 3 times despite being double teamed quite a bit, but I thought him and Jordan Davis did a really good job. Jordan Davis has been playing lights out to start off the season. Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter teamed up for that pivotal 4th down stop early in the 3rd quarter that turned out to be helpful for the Eagles in getting 3 points up on the board. Also, a huge shout out to Jake the Make Elliott. After going 1 for 7 from field goals 50 yards or longer in 2024, Elliott has stepped up so far in 2025. He started off the season 3 for 3, including a 51-yarder and a 58-yarder, and both of those kicks were perfect. He split the uprights and went all the way to the net, and so far this has been big dividends as Philly has gone 2-0, and they'll have another big test next week as they host the Los Angeles Rams next Sunday in a rematch of that iconic divisional game last year in the playoffs in the snow. It's clear to me that Patrick Mahomes can no longer mask the Chiefs' glaring roster flaws. Through 2 games, Mahomes is the Chiefs' leading rusher, and this is a major red flag on how the Chiefs' offense is looking so far. Neither Kareem Hunt nor Isaiah Pacheco can generate any type of impact so far in 2025, and Mahomes, through 2 games, has already doubled the 2 running backs' rushing output so far. That is disgraceful. The running game is a quarterback's best friend. That is a common theme in football. And even for a superstar like Patrick Mahomes, he could get some massive help with at least somewhat of a reliable running game. And I think so far in terms of pass protection, the offensive line has done a pretty solid job, but in terms of run blocking, it's less than inspiring. It's understood that in an Andy Reid style offense, the running game isn't an emphasis, and you're never gonna see really a consistent 1,000-yard back. But for the defense to remain honest and even pay attention to play action concepts, they're gonna need to find a way to generate a running game. And whether you tweak something in the offensive line or you find a way to get some more effectiveness between the 2, but maybe you have to even bring in a new running back into the mix, because so far it's really looking bad for the Chiefs. They've been really one-dimensional to start off this year, and to add further insult to injury, I mean, their passing game, it's very hindered because Rashee Rice is still 2 games into his 6-game suspension to start off this year, and Xavier Worthy is out in week 2, and he was sorely missed so far this season. He played 3 snaps in the season opener in Brazil, and really without him, it really does put the Chiefs' passing game into a bind as well. For Travis Kelce, I mean, he has to play better too. I understand that he's older, but he really does look like a shell of himself, and it's looking more and more that he's closer to retirement than playing another year. Even last year, he looked super slow compared to recent years, and his play is getting increasingly slower, more sloppy, and frankly, he does look at times pretty checked out. I know he can scream all he wants. He looked really animated after yet again another frustrating sequence, but I mean, I don't really see a lot of desire to be that game-changing tight end that I saw him earlier in his career. And so far, Travis Kelce's impact in 2025 has been dislocating Xavier Worthy's shoulder and his butterfingers killing a promising offensive drive and turning it into a game-altering interception in the red zone. And while we still can expect some hero ball moments from Patrick Mahomes, as he is still very capable of these Houdini-like magic plays, he can't do it alone, and right now even he is not enough to carry this Kansas City offense, as he's turning 30 this week. I mean, age does catch up to you. With the offensive line, yes, it's solid in pass protection now, but with him scrambling, that's going to accumulate hits, and God forbid he gets hurt, trying to make something out of nothing and then sustaining an ill-advised hit just because his running game is ineffective. And after the Chiefs have gotten so many breaks their way in the last 5-6 years, it appears that the Chiefs dynasty will be coming to an end fairly soon.